Have you ever noticed how your own reflection stares back at you from a dark phone screen just before it bursts to life? It's a fleeting moment, but it says so much. That was me, every single day, caught in that split second between myself and the glow. It's almost poetic, how we see ourselves in the darkness right before we disappear into the light of our devices. My morning started with that glow. The phone was the first thing I reached for, even before my feet hit the floor. It was my alarm clock, my news source, my social life, my calendar, my entertainment, my everything, all wrapped up in a small rectangle of glass and metal. Before I even had a chance to think, I was already scrolling, checking notifications and letting the world in. My phone dictated the rhythm of my day, from the moment I woke up to the moment I tried to fall asleep. I scrolled while waiting for coffee, answered emails at lunch, and watched videos to unwind after a long day. It felt like I was making the most of every spare minute, squeezing productivity and entertainment into every gap, but the truth is, it was overwhelming. The constant stream of information, the endless notifications, the pressure to always be available, it was too much. I told myself I was being efficient, but deep down, I knew I was losing control. My thumb seemed to have a mind of its own, opening apps on autopilot. If I was bored, I checked notifications. If there was an awkward pause in conversation, I'd check my feed. It became a reflex, something I did without even thinking. I was always half present, never fully engaged with the people or the world around me. My mind was tethered to a digital world that left me feeling drained, anxious, and strangely alone, even in a crowded room. My attention span shrank to the size of a notification. I couldn't finish a chapter of a book without reaching for my phone, distracted by the urge to check, to scroll, to see what I might be missing. Nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, scrolling endlessly, my mind racing with anxiety. The device that was supposed to connect me to the world was making me feel more isolated than ever. Sleep was restless, and the anxiety was a constant companion. As a doctor, I always tell my patients about the importance of balance and healthy habits. But here I was, unable to practice what I preached, my own life skewed by the very screens I warned others about. The blue glow from my phone was casting a long, invisible shadow over my well-being. It followed me everywhere, into my work, my relationships, my sleep, and my sense of self. I realized it was time to step back, to rediscover who I was without my digital sidekick. To see what life could feel like when I let the glow fade, and allowed myself to simply be present in the moment. The decision to unplug wasn't sudden. It crept up on me quietly, over weeks and months. I started noticing how my phone was the first thing I reached for in the morning and the last thing I put down at night. It was like a reflex, almost automatic, and I couldn't remember the last time I'd gone a full hour without checking notifications. The constant stream of updates, messages, and news had become background noise in my life, but it was starting to feel more like a burden than a convenience. The final push? It happened at dinner with friends. We were all together, but the moment there was a lull in conversation, every single person, including me, instinctively reached for their phone. The clinking of cutlery was replaced by the soft tapping of screens. It hit me then. We were physically present but mentally somewhere else, lost in our digital worlds. I realized I needed to break the pattern and prove I was in control, not my phone, not the endless notifications. I wanted to see if I could reclaim my attention, my time, and maybe even rediscover what it felt like to be truly present. So I committed to a 7-day digital detox. No smartphone, no social media, no streaming, no mindless scrolling. It felt drastic, but I knew I needed a real break, not just a few hours here and there. I'd use a basic phone for calls and texts only, no apps, no internet, just the essentials. It was almost comical holding that old school phone, but it also felt strangely liberating. My friends doubted I'd last a day, let alone a week. Their skepticism only fueled my resolve. I wanted to prove to myself, and maybe to them, that I could do it. I prepped like I was going off the grid, printed out maps, wrote down important phone numbers, dug out an old alarm clock, and checked out a stack of library books. I even made a list of things I wanted to do that didn't involve screens: read, journal, go for walks, maybe even try cooking something new. But as the start date approached, anxiety bubbled up. What if there's an emergency? What if I miss something important? The fear of being unreachable, of missing out, was real. I wondered if I was making a mistake. I posted a final message online: taking a week off, see you on the other side. It felt dramatic, but I wanted people to know I wasn't ignoring them. I was just trying something different. Powering down my phone, the silence was immediate and profound. The usual buzz and pings vanished, replaced by a quiet I hadn't experienced in years. My apartment, usually buzzing with notifications and background noise, was suddenly still. The quiet was almost startling, but also oddly peaceful. The challenge had officially begun. For the first time in ages, I was alone with my thoughts, with no digital distractions to fill the silence. It was both exciting and intimidating. The initial feeling wasn't freedom, it was emptiness, a touch of panic, and a sense of vulnerability. But deep down, I knew this was exactly why I needed to do it. The first 2 days were brutal. I felt like I was missing a limb, constantly aware of the absence of my phone. Every few minutes, my hand would twitch toward my pocket, only to find it empty. The silence was deafening, and my mind raced with thoughts of what I might be missing. Messages, updates, the endless scroll of news and notifications. I kept reaching for a phone that wasn't there. My fingers would hover over the spot where it usually sat, almost out of habit, as if muscle memory alone could conjure it back. Phantom vibrations, restless boredom, my brain craved stimulation. It was as if my body was wired to expect a buzz or a beep every few minutes, and without it, I felt strangely untethered, almost anxious. Waiting in line felt endless. I noticed people, details, the world around me. Instead of scrolling, I watched the barista's careful movements, the way sunlight filtered through the window, the quiet hum of conversation. I realized how much I'd been missing. By day 3, the cravings faded. I woke up refreshed. No blue light before bed. My mornings felt slower, more intentional. I actually noticed the way the sheets felt, the sound of birds outside, the gentle warmth of sunlight on my face. Breakfast was just breakfast, not a news scroll. I tasted my food, sipped my coffee, and let my mind wander. There was a quiet satisfaction in simply being present, without the urge to check headlines or emails. Walks with my dog became moments of real presence, sunlight, birds, neighbors. I noticed the way my dog's ears perked up at every sound, the laughter of children playing, the rustle of leaves in the breeze. Each walk felt like a small adventure. My world expanded beyond the screen. I found myself daydreaming, reflecting, and simply observing life as it unfolded around me. The urge to document every moment faded, replaced by a desire to just experience it. By midweek, my focus sharpened. I read for an hour, worked efficiently, picked up my guitar. Tasks that once felt overwhelming became manageable, and I rediscovered hobbies I'd neglected for years. Boredom became a catalyst for creativity. With nothing to distract me, my mind wandered into new ideas. I started sketching, writing, and even tried painting for the first time in ages. The quiet moments became fertile ground for inspiration. The final days were blissful. Anxiety faded, conversations deepened, I listened more intently, laughed more freely, and felt a genuine connection with the people around me. Even simple chats felt richer and more meaningful. I felt more connected to myself and others than I had in years. There was a sense of peace and clarity that I hadn't realized I was missing, a feeling of being truly present in my own life. The thought of turning my smartphone back on filled me with apprehension. I wondered if I could hold on to this newfound calm, or if I'd be swept back into the endless cycle of notifications and distractions. I knew I couldn't go back to my old ways. The experiment had changed me, and I was determined to protect this sense of focus and connection no matter what. My detox wasn't just a feeling, science backs it up. Smartphones are designed to be addictive, triggering dopamine with every notification. This creates a compulsive loop, much like gambling. High screen time is linked to anxiety, depression, and poor self-esteem thanks to constant social comparison. Our brains get rewired for distraction, making deep focus harder. Blue light from screens disrupts sleep by suppressing melatonin. Poor sleep leads to irritability, mood swings, and stress. A digital detox helps reset your brain, improving sleep and mental health. The first night without screens, I fell asleep fast and woke up truly rested. My energy and mood improved. The constant hum of digital anxiety faded. No emails, no news alerts, no social media comparisons. My mind was calmer. I worried less about what I was missing and focused on what was right in front of me. My concentration soared. I could read, work, and think clearly. Boredom, it turned out, sparked creativity and deep thought. Most importantly, my relationships improved. I was present with people, listening, noticing, connecting. Real conversations replaced texts and likes. Face-to-face moments strengthened bonds in ways digital life never could. Genuine human connection is the antidote to digital loneliness. The detox wasn't easy. The urge to reconnect was intense, especially during awkward silences or downtime. My phone had become a social crutch and boredom killer. FOMO was real. What if I missed news, messages, or memes? I reminded myself anything urgent would reach me by call. The world kept spinning without me online. Everyday tasks were harder, navigating without GPS, checking store hours. These inconveniences showed how much I relied on my phone. Social pressure was the toughest. Friends on their phones made me feel left out. Staying present took effort, but each small victory was empowering. I learned I could survive, even thrive, without constant connection. The struggle made the rewards feel earned. You don't have to quit cold turkey to benefit from a digital detox. The goal is a healthier, more intentional relationship with technology. Start by tracking your screen time. Awareness is the first step. Set boundaries. No phones at dinner, create screen-free zones, try a digital sunset, put screens away an hour before bed, turn off non-essential notifications and move distracting apps off your home screen. Set your phone to grayscale to make it less enticing. Replace digital habits with analog ones. Use an alarm clock, read a physical book, keep a journal. Fill your time with activities that restore you, not just distract you. Start small and experiment. Every unplugged hour counts. You don't need a week-long detox to feel the benefits. Even a few hours offline each day can transform your mental well-being.